Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is all set and ready for its release on December 19th of this month. That's going to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself by director J.J. Abrams, Disney, and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 that a lot of fans are very intrigued and worried about has all to do with exactly how JJ is going to connect this movie to the prequels, the originals, Star Wars Legends material, as well as other canon material that falls under Disney, like the animated TV series Star Wars Rebels and even the Clone Wars. Now, this movie, by the way, J.J. Abrams aims to make it by far the darkest Star Wars film there is out of the entire Skywalker saga, as well as making it the most emotional Star Wars film out of the entire saga, since there will be many different sacrifices and losses in this movie. And that's one thing to actually watch out for, because it really does make one wonder who's going to make it out alive in this film and who is going to die in Episode 9. So, one thing that a lot of fans have been very curious about is, of course, Ahsoka Tano. Through all the different changes and adjustments that Disney and Lucasfilm have gone through, a lot of people are still very curious about Ahsoka's role in The Rise of Skywalker. Now, specifically, it's explained that through many of the changes by Disney and Lucasfilm that they went through during the months of August, September, and October is when many changes and adjustments were made to the second and third acts of the film. It's said that one of the major sequences that both Disney and Lucasfilm had to adjust to make the film appeal to a general audience more so was a sequence based in the third act of the film. It's said that originally, an unknown actress portrayed the role of Ahsoka Tano in her older years, leading the Resistance with an older version of Ezra Bridger. It's explained that originally there were plans for Ahsoka Tano to show up in person and interact with the Resistance, and even using a lightsaber, that an entire scene was even filmed for Ahsoka Tano during the production of the film. However, it's said that this scene was cut and deleted and replaced with another scene for Ahsoka Tano that is said to be briefly in the third act of Episode 9 to include Ahsoka Tano as a Force ghost connecting with Rey. It's explained that toward the end of the film, when Palpatine is facing Rey, each Force ghost that helps Rey gives her a unique power for her spirit. It's said that Ahsoka Tano's Force ghost voice reaches out to Rey, and once Ahsoka becomes a part of Rey's spirit, it's said that Rey gains the knowledge that she needs of the Ancient Jedi, as Ahsoka was said to have learned more about the Ancient Jedi after the events of Rebels Season 4. It's said that each Force ghost that combines with Rey's spirit in the moment gives her a specific function, and that through Ahsoka, Rey learns everything that she needs about the Ancient Jedi. Ahsoka Tano is said to be only in the form of a Force ghost voice that reaches and becomes a part of Rey. However, is said to be a crucial moment to Rey defeating Palpatine once and for all. It's noted that Disney decided to have both characters Ezra and Ahsoka as Force ghosts to explain their demise in a future comic that is set to release in 2020, and that there have been early talks of a new Star Wars Rebels season that would expand the stories of Ezra and Ahsoka Tano. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the thing about this massive change by Disney and Lucasfilm, we have been talking about this for a number of weeks now, about what Disney went through, back in August, September, and October, to literally bring a facelift to The Rise of Skywalker, to literally just change the structure of the plot. Honestly, I think it's for the worse. For a lot of hardcore fans out there, it didn't really do anything better. In fact, they took a lot of the really good and impressive content out of there in order for this movie to cater to a general audience. Which honestly, I think is a little bit like, how they're betraying the fans in a sense, because Star Wars fans are Star Wars fans. They want to go ahead and see this film and see the things that they connect with. And by taking out those special moments, I feel that it wasn't really the right decision of diminishing it into something completely smaller. But nonetheless, Ahsoka Tano is said to have a sequence in the movie in the form of a Force ghost voice reaching out to Rey and giving her the ability to gain the knowledge of the Ancient Jedi that allows her to take down Palpatine once and for all. Now, the thing about Episode 9 is that each and every Force ghost that helps Rey in the very ending of Episode 9 is actually said to give her a different function, a different ability, if you will. And Ahsoka Tano's is very unique in its form, is that once Ahsoka becomes a part of Rey's spirit, either temporarily or permanently, we're still not quite sure, but she becomes a part of Rey's spirit, allowing her to gain all the knowledge about the Ancient Jedi. So that's a very interesting part about Episode 9, is the fact that they are introducing introducing this new medium to the franchise that we have never seen before in the Skywalker saga is, of course, Force ghosts literally fusing with a mortal living over in the mortal world to destroy an evil person such as Palpatine. And to me, I think that this may feel a little unlike Star Wars. I will say that the Force Ghost becoming a part of Rey seems a little overboard in my opinion. Them reaching out to Rey and lending her energy, which they will be doing in the movie, that I can understand. That does make a lot of sense because George Lucas actually had that idea for Return of the Jedi before it was put to the wayside. But them becoming a part of her spirit, I'm still not quite sure exactly, whether or not that belongs in Star Wars, or if this is just J.J. Abrams being very ambitious and it's going to take time for the audience to adjust to that big change. I'm not quite sure about that, but this also alludes to the line of dialogue by Luke when he states, 1,000 generations live in you now. So once they become a part of her spirit, that's what Luke Skywalker tells her before she takes down Palpatine once and for all, where of course they tell her that the Force will always be with her, and that it will always be with her essentially. Now, this particular sequence where originally Ahsoka Tano was going to show up in her older years, leading the Resistance with an older Ezra Bridger on top of the Star Destroyer on the battlefield in space or above the surface of Exegol, I think that would have been a better scenario for the characters of Ahsoka and Ezra Bridger. Now, mind you, I know that there's a lot of fans out there that completely hate or dislike the character of Ezra and or Ahsoka. That's perfectly fine. Everybody has their own opinion. But if you are a true Star Wars fan, and if you really love the hardcore material, such as Star Wars Rebels, and the Clone Wars, and the lore, and the comics, and everything that really ties everything together, then you guys know exactly, who Ahsoka Tano really is, and what she really means to the Star Wars universe, as well as Ezra Bridger. Very important figures in the galaxy. Really important figures, I must add. So Ahsoka Tano, at least having a part in Episode 9, I think is a very good thing. At the very minimum of having her become a Force Ghost voice reaching out to Rey, at the very least, they kept her presence in the movie. But I still think it was a terrible mistake by Disney and Lucasfilm to literally dwindle her, presence from actual form to just a voice. Originally, she was actually supposed to be alive, now she's dead. So essentially, at one point in time, in between, the sequels and the originals, is that Ahsoka and Ezra Bridger died, and that they are now one with the Force. So that's something that they're going to have to explain. My only problem with them being Force Ghost voices is that, are the fans even going to recognize that they are Ahsoka or Ezra Bridger? That's my only problem with this, is that, are we really going to recognize that? Are they going to get, the same exact, voice actors from Star Wars Rebels and throw them into Episode 9? That's a big possibility. But the fact that originally they had an unknown actress portraying a older Togruta female that is actually Ahsoka Tano, and deleted that scene and just dwindled her down to a Force Ghost voice, giving Rey the ancient Jedi knowledge that she needs to overcome Palpatine's, manipulation and all that stuff. I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to set up everything for their future Star Wars universe. In case you guys are currently unaware, they are developing a new Star Wars universe. This new universe, by the way, in case you guys did not know, is going to expand the entire Star Wars franchise. It's going to expand everything in between the sequels, the originals, the prequels, everything. They're going to create this new EU that's going to expand everything further past Episode 9. So that's one thing to look forward to, and that is one other thing that I think a lot of fans are very curious about, is to see exactly how the new expanded universe is going to compare to the old EU back in the 1990s and the early 2000s. So with that being said, Ahsoka Tano, very important figure. It's very, much of a letdown to know that they dwindled her screen time down to practically nothing, instead of just making her now a Force Ghost voice, where she just reaches out to Rey and essentially helps her out. That's the whole entire scenario here. So with that being said, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this whole entire situation between Ahsoka and others, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.